Alright guys, welcome back to Wreck and Rule. My name is Brian. I'm sure you guys have heard by now that we have the announcement that Wave 3 of the TCG is going to be Siege. More specifically, Siege Part 1. So you guys can see down bottom of the preview, the image here from the preview for the toy line, that Siege is going to be a trilogy, or maybe War for Cybertron is a trilogy and Siege is the first part. I don't quite know how that works out. But the title for the TCG wave that we're getting is Siege 1. So I'm sure that we will see 2 and 3. To be quite honest, I think we all kind of figured that Siege was coming, although I don't think we expected it to be this soon. It is really, really cool that we're getting it. The art style for these cards is significantly different than what we've seen in Wave 1 and 2. Wave 1 and 2, all of the character cards at least, they look very much like they could be, like the cover of a comic book. They're very clean. Whereas the art for Siege is a little bit grittier, almost has kind of like a graffiti type of feel to it. So it's going to be neat that we have cards with that look to it. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, I thought I had Siege Wave 3. I thought I had it all figured out. I thought I knew who the characters were all going to be because I looked at the toys that are available and the toys that we know are coming up. And numbers-wise, it worked out that we would get 24 small-size characters and 24 regular-size character cards. Well, not unfortunately, because it's good to have surprises. Drew popped in to a thread in the Facebook group, and he mentioned that we would be seeing some surprises, some things that we did not expect to see, which is, of course, awesome. Although I wonder if they're not in the Siege line, if it will still have the same style of artwork, or if those kind of surprise cards will have kind of the more traditional character artwork. With that said, let's kind of get right into it. My plan here with this is to briefly go over how the mechanics will work for Battle Masters, for Micro Masters, and then kind of get into the possible characters that we'll see for each of those subtypes, and then the possible just regular characters that we will see too. So first up, a new type of character card that we're going to get is called a Battle Master. So Battle Masters are based on the toy line. These are basically just renamed Target Masters. So they're smaller guys. It's a $5 or $6 toy. They have a robot mode. They have a weapon mode. They also come with neat little energy effects that you can plug into them or into the other figures as well. So in game, the way that Battle Masters work is they start in play in bot mode, and they are not able to flip. And then what happens is when they are KO'd, you get to play it as an upgrade onto a character as a weapon. Now in this case, Fire Drive is a weapon. The other one, Aimless, that we've seen is also a weapon, although there's nothing that could stop us from getting guys who turn into armor or utilities. So another thing that's kind of interesting is that these guys seem to have a rank. So both Fire Drive and the next guy, Aimless, they have a rank in front of their name. I wonder if that might possibly come into play, or if that's just to maybe differentiate names for the future. It is also kind of interesting that we seem to have possible keywords here rather than the subtitles that we used to get. So we see here that Fire Drive is both ground command and he is also artillery. So it'll be interesting to see if they have any type of effect in the game, or if that's just there essentially as decoration. Kind of interesting. He's ranged. Okay, so we do get keywords here still. And that ranged, same icon. Never mind, thought it looked different. So from here, the other guy that we've seen so far is Aimless. It seems that the Decepticon equivalent to Private is going to be Raider, although that could potentially change. I was wondering with Frenchie and Joe and RJ, Kyle, and Kev as we were chatting about this stuff, if maybe this could be a way to kind of get more mileage from the art assets. If you could maybe have like Raider is the lowest level that Aimless could be, but then a different version that you could take would be, I don't know, the next level up. It's probably easier to talk about with Fire Drive. You know, Private could be the lowest level, but maybe there's a slightly upgraded version that would be Sergeant Fire Drive, or what have you. Would also be neat if Autobots are using these ranks if we get an updated version of Cup, where somehow, like if he is leading an army of these Battle Masters and Micromasters, that he somehow either gets bonuses or gives them bonuses. Would be neat, since he is a higher ranked guy that we have so far. You guys can see Aimless. Not going to spend a ton of time going over the cards. We'll talk about them as more are revealed. And WotC still has a lot to tell us about them too. So really quick, a rundown of some of the other Battle Masters that we might get. We've already talked about Fire Drive. He is typically paired up with Hot Rod as his target master. Lionizer goes from robotic lion into a sword, almost a chainsaw looking type deal. I believe that he was an Action Master kind of little partner guy for, I forget, maybe not Atomizer, or maybe it's Atomizer, or Rad or Jackpot. I think one of those guys, but don't quote me. Blowpipe is another one. I think Blowpipe is the partner for Trigger Happy, but don't quote me again. Taraxodon is a new character, as far as I know. Goes from Pterodactyl to a giant honkin' battle axe. I hope this guy gets the Dinobot keyword. That'll be pretty sweet. Possibly throw him in as, rather than taking Snarl, as a 7-star option if he is 7 stars. Throw him in with Wave 1 Sludge, Wave 1 Grimlock, and see what we can do with that. Would be pretty neat. Aimless is here. Another one, I think that he is partners with Misfire, if I'm not mistaken. Caliburst probably would be with Slugslinger, but again, don't quote me, I could be wrong. This guy here is also really cool. So Smashdown, the preview stuff that they put at a Toy Fair mentioned that he is a Wrecker, and the Wreckers see him as being their mascot, which again is really, really cool. Turns into a sweet looking like Battle Hammer type deal here. In addition to Battle Masters, the other small size characters that we'll be getting in Wave 2 are Micromasters, and these guys are really neat. They are basically just updated versions of the Micromasters that we got back in G1, and they look almost spot on. On top of that, they have much better articulation. So you guys can see here, packaging, robot mode, vehicle mode. They also have kind of like a goofy combined weapon type mode here. So like this here is these two guys as a sword, quote unquote. The handle is down here. Here's two other guys that like join together to make a cannon. It doesn't look the greatest. I doubt that this will be a mechanic in the game, but maybe these guys could potentially be like combiner size. They have the fold, and if they somehow combine together, it's like a bigger weapon. You unfold it, but again, I find that pretty doubtful. So the only Micromaster we've seen so far in game is Red Heat. Note again that he is a private. We see that he's infantry and emergency response. Specialist too, which is pretty neat. So here he has stealth in vehicle mode. We'll see if that is something that they all have or not. And then over here too, we see that this guy has a tap effect. So rather than attacking with him, it appears that you just tap him and you get essentially swap parts is what you would get here. Again, we'll kind of talk more about this once we know more, but here are the possibilities for who we might get as characters. Swindler and Road Handler. Swindler is the gray guy, Road Handler is the red guy. Road Handler, if you want to go look it up, in the G1 comics, had a professional wrestling focused issue, which was weird, but interesting. Stormcloud, I believe, is this guy. Nope, my bad. I think this guy is Stormcloud. Stormcloud is over here. Whisper originally was what his name was, but now he is Visper, I guess for copyright reasons. We have Flak over here. We have Top Shot over here. Probably two future tanks, which would be neat. We've got Stakeout over here. We have Red Heat over here. Fun fact, Stakeout was in the second volume of the Wreckers, Sins of the Wreckers. So maybe if we get Wrecker as a keyword here, maybe he could also have that keyword. These guys are not yet out, but they are coming. So we have Blackjack is this guy here. We have Hyperdrive, who is this guy here. You guys can see here, this is their goofy, supposed to be a gun type of mode. Does not work very well. We have Powertrain over here. We have High Jump over here. Countdown is coming with Omega Supreme, so we maybe will see him as well in the game. And then within Siege, Ravage and Laserbeak also count as Micromasters, so it is quite possible that this is going to be how we get them in the game as well. Another category that is kind of in between, I guess maybe more the Battle Master concept and just a regular character, are the idea of weaponizers. So you see here, like this is Sideswipe, but he is wearing parts of another character named Cog as armor / weaponry. Same deal, we have Red Alert here wearing parts of, I'm blanking out here on the name. It's on the tip of my tongue. It is the guy who goes with Triptychon. I am forgetting, but he comes up a little bit later. I'll have his name up here soon. I will look like an idiot. So here, this is Cog. Cog is basically Fortress Maximus's partner. So he has a robot mode, he has a vehicle mode, but you can basically disassemble Cog and let other characters wear him. So I think that these guys could potentially work in that Battle Master concept, but maybe these guys, when they get KO'd, maybe rather than being a weapon or armor, maybe they count as both. Like maybe he is weapon and armor, so that he would take up both of those slots, and would maybe be a pumped up version of that. Six Gun also got kind of the same treatment here, so we get a new version of him if he is coming out. Brunt, there we go. So Brunt is the other one. He is Triptychon's like partner as well, and as you can see, he also disassembles into multiple different pieces. In terms of actual characters, so obviously we have Magnus. That's the toy, or the renders for the toy, and here we have him as a character. Again, we have that infantry keyword or subtype right here. He is a city commander, which G1, that was his function, but that was the same function that Galvatron had. So hopefully we get him too. Don't really have too much to say here. We'll go over more about him at some point in the future. We have a rank again, so we have Major. We'll see if that comes into play somehow. Shockwave, same deal, and we've seen his card as well. So again, he's a Major. They seem to have kind of like a, I don't know, they're divisioned, or what armed service they're in. So Shockwave is in the applied sciences. He is a scientist. He's got the same keywords as back in Wave 1. Talk more about him as a character later. So other characters that we're likely to get. So of course we are almost certainly going to get Optimus Prime as a character. Ditto for Megatron. Ditto for Starscream. We have Thundercracker coming up. So I was a little bit let down. He is my favorite of the Seekers. So Wave 3, chances are we probably get Starscream and Thundercracker, but we don't get Skywarp since we got him back in Wave 2, but we'll see. It will be interesting if they count this as a plane or as a spaceship. We'll see how that plays out. Soundwave, this is his Siege form. He also gets that spaceship treatment as well. Springer, so we could potentially get an updated Springer, helicopter, and car or truck, however WotC wants to take it. Again, so if we want to get that Wrecker subtype, hint, please, Wizards. I know it's too late, but hey, please give us a Wrecker keyword or upgrade card or something. Wreck and Rule would be great to have as an action. Holy crap, please. Sideswipe here. Sideswipe is one of my favorite G1 guys, although let's be real, he never really did a whole lot other than have a jetpack and kind of get some cool one-liners here and there. So we got his twin brother Sunstreaker back in Wave 2. We will probably be getting himself probably getting him himself. Whew, I cannot talk tonight. Sorry, still shaking off being sick. We will get him in Wave 3, probably. Hopefully. Hound also gets an updated version, looking a little bit beefier. So this guy will be interesting if they have him in here. So Skytread is his name here. And the way that he works is that he is a plane, he is a tank. These do not form their own robot mode. They combine together to make his like combined robot mode here. When we were trying to figure out that last combiner, he was one of the possibilities. But it'll be interesting how they would maybe figure that out, because each of, I guess maybe they could have, I don't know. This is a mystery. Maybe like the card itself is just the two vehicles in one for alt mode. It is a plane and tank. You can play both upgrade cards on there as need be. And then you kind of flip him and he's just a robot here. I don't know. Chromia gets updated in Siege. She is a car rather than a motorcycle. Ironhide also gets updated. We've had Ironhide in Wave 1 and Wave 2. Will we see him Wave 3? Maybe. This is a really cool toy. Highly recommended. We get another Prowl. So we've seen Prowl Wave 1. We've seen him Wave 2. Will we see him Wave 3? Red Alert also has a toy for Siege. So possibly an updated version, hopefully with ability text. Reflector gets updated for Siege. He is a deluxe character. It could be neat if maybe Reflector is, you're able to take 3 of him, would be kind of cool. Be the first like non-limited type of character. We also, we'll have Barricade, who is a recolor of Prowl. Potentially see him in the game too. Impactor, which I would love to see Impactor out there again. That record keyword, we could see it in Wave 3. Mirage gets an updated version. Again, we've seen Mirage in Wave 1 and 2. Will we see him in Wave 3? Jetfire has a Siege toy coming out. Kind of a big, like huge honkin' type dude. Not quite Omega Supreme sized, but bigger than the leader character. So we might see an updated version of him. Kind of cool is that the toy itself has a reversible Autobot and Decepticon symbol to kind of reference in the G1 cartoon. He started off as a Decepticon, but then he decided to change sides once he found out more about them. This is Greenlight is her name. She comes with this guy here, Dazzle Strike, I believe is the name. So that could be a potential Battle Master coming out too. She maybe, I think we have a lesser chance of seeing her simply because she is a store exclusive. I forget what store. Maybe Walgreens, maybe online. They spoil that we're going to get like kind of alternate, I think they describe them as being cell shaded characters, but one of the alternate recolors that we'll get is going to be Soundwave as Sound Blaster, which is, rather than the dark blue that Soundwave has, it's just a black color instead. In the Japanese, I think, Headmaster series, Soundwave and Blaster fight each other to the death, and they kind of get like rebuilt, and when they're rebuilt, they are also recolored. Blaster gets like a blue paint scheme. I think his name is Twincast, but don't quote me. Would love to get a Rat-Bat, by the way. One of my favorite cassettes. We are also getting in that kind of like that recolor special edition type toy line, Blue Streak. So maybe we'll get an updated Blue Streak, possibly. Next couple characters are essentially rumored, but maybe a step above just a rumor. Somebody found listings for these in, I believe it was Toys R Us or maybe Walmart. So Astro Train is supposedly getting a leader toy, so we could see him as a character. This here is Ape Face, who is a triple changer. He goes from robot to jet, which is not really pictured, to gorilla. So it'd be cool to have him. Ratchet is also listed as a Walgreens exclusive later this year. This is not the real toy. This is apparently they did a customizer, like repaint type class at the official Transformers convention last year, and this is one of the ways that you could paint him up as, which looks really cool. Kind of jealous I did not have a chance to get this guy, but Siege Ratchet will most likely just be a recolor of Siege Ironhide. So hopefully we finally get Ratchet. He feels like one of the last few G1 like main characters that we've not yet gotten, aside of course from Sideswipe. This guy here, I forget the name. I want to say it's like Galaxy Convoy is the Japanese version, based on the Cybertron version of Optimus Prime from the Cybertron TV show / toy series. He is a leader class. I believe that he is a remold of the Power of the Primes Optimus mold. Hasbro Pulse is putting out like pre-orders for him. Otherwise, it would typically be a Japan-only release. So maybe we see him in the toy line or card game. We'll see. We also have Omega is like the big ticket Siege item. Now, obviously, we got the Loot Crate Omega. We could also potentially get a different Omega as well. Although, obviously, he will not come in a booster pack. We would have to kind of get him as a standalone product in some type of way. But hey, it's a possibility. Some like wild, random speculation based on the fact that Drew said that we'll be getting some surprises along the way. So it'd be a little bit of a letdown, I think, if we don't get a Combiner or two in this series. I think that Bruticus would be a fantastic choice because he is one of the big, like, you know, one of the major ones that we usually see that we did not see as a release yet. Ditto for Defensor, and they'd be kind of good counterparts to each other. And Bumblebee. Oddly enough, Siege does not yet have a Bumblebee toy, although he is a pretty prominent character in the comic book series so far. We know that Hasbro likes to kind of promote the evergreen characters of Prime, Megatron, Starscream, and Bee, so we don't have a Bumblebee for Siege. I'd be surprised if we don't see one in Wave 3, but hey, who knows? Here, guys, that's all for tonight because I rapidly feel that I'm fading. Make sure if you're not already part of our various different online communities that you join up with us. So join the Wreck and Roll Facebook page. The link will be in the video description. Subscribe to us on YouTube and check out our website too. We also have a Patreon, so if you guys would like to donate, we're basically using it to repay Joe and Frenchie for equipment costs that they've put out for both camera, audio, and lighting equipment. And then once we have kind of reimbursed them, we're hoping to kind of continue to upgrade our setup. All right, guys, we're pumped up for Siege. I'll probably drop this sometime Tuesday morning. We know that Wizards has said that they will be putting out an article as well where they go into a little bit more detail about what we'll be seeing. And hopefully we also get some more information about what we'll be seeing for like an OP type of situation. All right, folks, Wreck and Roll. Goodbye.